Hello, and welcome to the SAP SuccessFactors Best Run Workforce HR Demo Series. Today's session in our webinar series is on SAP Cloud Platform. My name is Jessie Labenwolf, and I'm going to cover some brief housekeeping items before we begin. We'll be addressing your questions at the end of the webinar, but you're encouraged to submit questions throughout the demonstration and presentation using the Q&A panel on the left side of your console. If you experience any technical issues, please let me know via that same Q&A panel, and I'll help you out shortly. Today's session is being recorded, and we will be sending out a link to the replay of this webinar in the coming days, so keep an eye out for it in your email. Finally, I'd like to highlight some additional resources, which are located on the left side of your console. You will find a treasure trove of assets available for your review, as well as links to upcoming events, including the rest of this webinar series. And with that, we're ready to dive in. Today's session will be led by Matthew Otto, who is the Global Director for SAP Cloud Platform Go-to-Market here at SAP SuccessFactors. Matthew, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessie. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. I hope that you'll enjoy the content we're going to talk about because I find it very exciting. Like was said, if you have any questions or you think of a question during the series, please put it out there and we'll make sure we get it answered, if not during the session, but afterwards. Before I dive in, because I know that we sometimes have a blended audience, wanted to kind of highlight what SAP Cloud Platform was, if you weren't familiar with it already. This is SAP's platform as a service. And I think a lot of times there's a misconception that it is only for SAP products. It does indeed do that, but at the same time, it helps build your HR ecosystem. So your platform is going to definitely be how you're building your next generation HR ecosystem in your own company. It is applicable to all of our cloud solutions beyond just SuccessFactors. So if you are in the HR space in your company, you may be using Cloud Platform in other areas, and that's worth checking out because you'll be able to leverage that same technology on your products. And third, it is an integration tool, and so a lot of people may be more familiar with it as Cloud Platform Integration or what it formerly was known as HANA Cloud Integration or HCI. So, integration is a huge component to what you can do to leverage the value of Cloud Platform. But just wanted to kind of put all those topics out there before we dive in to help set the stage for what we're going to be chatting about. At the same time, I have a question to put out there if you have a few moments. Are you using SAP Cloud Platform or Cloud Platform integrations today? That way we can get a little pulse on what's going on with the people listening on the webinar today. And if you could answer that for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. And while you do that, we'll go ahead and kick off the conversation. A little bit background on how the evolution of the business apps have really happened in the cloud. I think as most of us know in the HR space, when we first were talking automation, we were definitely looking at some early tools, whether that were spreadsheets or very customized on-prem environments that may have had some other integrated solutions. But if it was on-prem, if it was single tenant, those were really the focus on early automation. Typically very expensive, very customized, so it was very resource heavy. But as we moved forward, maybe about 7-8 years ago, we really looked at that optimization level. How are we going to leverage best practices? What are those standards that we're going to really want? That's how those SaaS solutions initially started coming out. That way we could decrease that cost of ownership and really leverage what those best standards are. Get out of that overly customized space. Unfortunately, sometimes with moving to a SaaS, you were initially limited on those unique custom processes that you may have built out in your legacy on-prem systems. Then we moved to what is today our digital transformation. And that's when we start seeing the agility that's being asked from leadership to the teams that are supporting these solutions. How can we get this type of machine learning embedded into our system today? Why can't I see my dynamic reports in real time versus the traditional delivered PDFs that we had before? Making sure that they're much more tailored to what your operations are asking. Getting that people data aligned more so outside of just the HR bubble. Let's talk about, what are those travel and expense costs associated to your personnel? How do we look at the contingent worker and the traditional full-time employee all in one data set? Those are the things that you're being asked of, today to help move that needle forward, as well as personalizing it. What do you want your experience to be for your end users and how they enter the systems? Your new millennials and your post-millennial generations asking, how can I use a system that's much more similar to what I use at home, whether I'm, shopping on Amazon and an app or texting with my friends to get some quick answers. They're expecting that same caliber of ease in your enterprise solutions today. So a little bit of the background, which is what brings us to what we're going to be talking about today. And I think, before we dive in there, we're going to see, good, I definitely have a few folks that have been exposed to Cloud Platform or the integration solution, which is always great to see. And we have a number of folks that this might be their first time being exposed. So hopefully this is some great takeaways to really help highlight what you can do with extending your HR solutions. So hopefully this slide isn't too foreign if you've been to any number of events or webinars in the past 10 to 12 months. You may have seen what we call the vision for the intelligent enterprise. And this is the overarching SAP vision of how we look at all the various solutions an enterprise takes, applying those various intelligent technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, analytics, Internet of Things, and then utilizing Cloud Platform as well as your data sources and bringing that all to life in an integrated ecosystem. The purpose of today's is going to be to really focus on our people management. So when you look at this, we're going to really dive into that segment of the intelligent enterprise, as well as those same technologies, because those are all universal to everything, and really highlighting what Cloud Platform does to that extent. So that way, if you attend other webinars in the future, you may be targeting other areas like our C4 space or S4 space, et cetera. At first blush, the top three benefits that really are driven by SAP Cloud Platform really fall into three certain areas. The first, and I kind of mentioned this earlier on, is that agility layer. And this is really going to be how you're going to extend and personalize quickly the solutions you already own. So the idea is not as new solutions come out to rip and replace, and this solution isn't able to do this today, I bought it 8 months ago, a year ago, whatever. It really is taking the best of breed core solution that you already own, taking that solid governance, and being able to extend the ROI on it. So agility and being able to do it quickly, not being able to do 8 months, 12 months, 16-month mega implementations, but being able to get those micro extensions, micro processes really up and live in a couple weeks. So fast, quick. Optimization. This is when we're talking about streamlining your integration tools. We're also looking at streamlining your systems. So, it may not all be SAP, and that is fine. It's, I'm obviously very biased and love my SuccessFactors, but you may have other solutions you want with your SuccessFactors. And being able to make that a streamlined experience and making sure that you're leveraging all your data that's coming from this in one single place so that you can really be talking about your next generation use of the system. Whether, again, that's that machine learning. If you don't have the data in there and you don't have the good data, you're not going to really be able to leverage, that machine learning capability. And third, the digital experience, or the digital side of this. This is when we're talking about processes that are not included in your SaaS solution today. This might be a unionized process or something that you're doing, I have a small team still working with Excel spreadsheets because it's just not a standard SaaS solution. Let's talk about how you extend those processes and bring that data into SuccessFactors, into your core, and then be able to help automate and get some additional accountability and extensions with those processes. So that's a big one, and we'll have a couple of use cases that we'll be talking about where that actually came to life. So those are those three areas. So there's going to be two sections that we really focus on. First is going to be the extension platform, and then later we're going to talk about how Cloud Platform is being used from a more innovative side. And when I talk about extensions, this is going to be really extending those business applications you all have set up, whether that's your core EC, whether that's compensation, whether that's your recruiting or your full talent suite, or it could be a combination of both. So some of our extensions, the partners work with multiple modules that may be included. So again, it depends on the process and the type of solution we're talking about. And this might be something that most people are not familiar with. And hopefully after this call, I would say this is one of our call to actions, is to explore this further in your own company. But it's the SAP App Center. And the SAP App Center is our enterprise portal for looking at all of our extension apps made by partners for all of our solutions, including SuccessFactors. And again, this is sort of like if I were talking about my iTunes music and movie catalog, where I would search for a CD title that I wanted to download. This would be the same for those enterprise solutions. Easy, you discover it, you can explore it, and you can hopefully procure it by the end. One of the biggest value propositions we have with the SAP App Center is the partner ecosystem that really is involved. So we know that SAP is not going to be the sole source of innovation. And the nice thing about this is these are all partners that believe in the strategy that we have with our Intelligent Enterprise and utilize Cloud Platform to build extensions and extensible solutions on native technology that it would integrate seamlessly into your SuccessFactors solution. They're not bolt-ons. It's using the same technology that gets embedded into your different modules. And we have now hundreds and hundreds of partners that are doing this. And one of the things that we're going to be showing you next is diving into Explore the App Center. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hopefully get my screen shared. And Jesse, you can confirm, are we seeing my App Center?
We are live, yes.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so if you are not familiar, like I said, it is sapappcenter.com. And you'll notice right here at the top, you'll see all the different product lines that our cloud business has available to you to look at extensions, which is why I mentioned earlier, you may have other groups outside of HR possibly using Cloud Platform today. If they do, you can use the same license for your extensibility endeavors. So the nice thing is you're not looking at buying multiple Cloud Platform licenses for your business. Your organization would use one license to accomplish what they're looking to do. Again, my focus and my skill set is on the HR side. So we'll be focusing on SuccessFactors. Nice, filter options that are available to you here. So if you are able to see my screen here, you just click on SuccessFactors, and as you'll see, we have just under 200 extensions built for SuccessFactors alone, which is great because those are all various processes, like I said, from recruiting to compensation to talent that are made available for you to explore. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick one to kind of highlight a little bit for you, and that will be this Job Points extension. The purpose of the Job Points extension is a reward and perform recognition tool. So a lot of times that's something that SuccessFactors does have a light version out of the box that you're able to use. Sometimes you're looking for something a little bit more robust with some enhanced mobile capabilities as well as some global support operations for the compensation aspect. This is actually something that we use internally at SAP. So, we also use our own strategies in terms of extensions for areas that we believe are well done and well supported. And so Job Points happens to be one of them. So when I'm looking at the screen here, I'm going to call your attention to a couple areas. The first is going to be in this dark gray ribbon. You have a couple buttons. One is starting a free trial. If you have Cloud Platform today, what this would allow you to do is actually use this app extension sort of out of the box. There is a lot of customization you can do when you purchase it, but you'll be able to kind of get a preview of what this would look like with your test data and some of the functionality in your test environment. The Contact Us button actually does bring you to the partner. So if you are looking for additional information and clarification, you'll be in direct contact with the partner that created the extension that you're looking at. And you also have this button here, Buy Now. This is not something on all extensions, but starting third quarter last year, we did introduce transactable apps. So you are able to go from discovery to full purchase of an app extension directly at this App Center. You'll see that there's in the page. I highly encourage you to look through the various tabs where you'll get additional insight into questions customers have asked, additional insight from the publisher, reviews that have been left by our customers. All of this being done through the ecosystem. One of the key areas of information that I'll direct your attention to is on this right-hand side, where you'll see the various topics that you can also filter by. But when you go and you can see the technology, and again, it indicates it's a built-on cloud platform, that lets you know that this extension does use the same technology build as SuccessFactors. So this is something that will become embedded into your solution. So that way, when you're using it, your users can have a very seamless experience, whether they're using it on the SuccessFactor portal page or they're using it from their mobile device. And you'll see some other various topics, including use cases. That, again, helps you to search through the App Center. So hopefully a very easy thing. Again, a lot of times this might be new because maybe you're still in the process of doing your digital transformation. But you'll find extensions here for all your topics. But you'll also find extensions for those that may be looking to help make the transition from on-prem to cloud. So if that's a situation you're in, a cloud platform also does help with that process. So that way you can have some accelerators as well as some digital tools made available as you make that transformation journey. But staying with the job point as an example, what I wanted to show you was taking a step further. And as I mentioned, we use it here at SAP. So what I wanted to show is actually what my screen looks like. So I'm going to show you my Fiori screen. If you're not familiar with it, this is one of the options you can have when you're doing your user interface, and this is what we use here at SAP. And as you can see, we actually rebranded it, and it's called the Appreciate tool. So let me open this in a new window, and here is the job points. One of the things that I will call out is it does, recognize using the single sign-on, same role-based permissions that you would set up with your SuccessFactors solution. It does recognize you there, as well as brings my profile and portal photo information over from the Employee Central side, as well as giving me the range of options that my administrator has let me use. So this is not a solution that has to be financial or has to be non-financial. You can choose, and you can give various level authorities to your users, just like you can with other solutions in SuccessFactors. But what I'll do is I'll walk you through a quick recognition, but you'll see you're able to redeem these points for, any kind of gift cards or various very easy to use services, as well as there is a gamification aspect to this tool as well. So depending on your team and other programs that you might be involved with, you can actually bring out some gamification options. But here, if I was simply recognizing one of my colleagues, I can go ahead to recognize. Again, I can use a thank award or monetary award. My administrator has given us some guidelines as to what we need to do. I can go ahead, I can select a monetary award, and then it will indicate based on how many points, which equate to gift dollars that I can do, what means, again, what defines that use. And then, from there, being able to send it to a user. I can choose somebody within my organization. I was choosing Melissa Corfield. Again, it uses my contact list. Everything from SuccessFactors is in there. I can go ahead and I can add a message, etc. Again, highlighting the component I'm looking to do, and go ahead and be sent off. So again, this is just an example of the experience that this particular extension creates from my SuccessFactors solution. So this does allow me to easily give global recognition to my colleagues. It's actually a program that we saw an immediate increase in adoption by over 75% from the previous solutions we had at SAP, just because it was easy to use, the parameters were much clearer, the use of the point was a much broader solution, and the instant feedback was the fact that the easy-to-use integrated mobile capabilities made it a lot more real-time. So I can go ahead and recognize the moment the situation happens, whereas sometimes I might forget by going back to my desk. So one example of one solution, but I wanted to show how it looked from exploring and finding it on the App Center to seeing what it would look like live in a production environment, and using myself as an example. So hopefully that was interesting for you guys to see. And again, there's a number of amazing partners and extension types covering all aspects. So I highly encourage you to look and explore. So let me go ahead and dive back into our PowerPoint. And let me do that. All right. And I think we should be back, and you should be seeing our Reimagine and Innovate section. So the next two use cases that are going to come up are still extensions built using Cloud Platform, but these are not something that were purchased outside of the App Center. These were processes that were niche to the customer that they had a need for, they wanted in the cloud, and they use Cloud Platform to make that become a reality for their implementations. So the first one I'm going to highlight is our Adidas story. They were a customer that presented last year at Success Connect in Berlin. And their use case was, as they are moving along their transformational journey, they were not going to be moving to Employee Central and to performance management until early 2021, possibly late 2020. And they had a need from their executive leadership team to create more visibility in their performance development strategy. So they did separate out performance development from the performance management solution capabilities and wanted a certain solution that aligned to their principles and to what they expected to capture from a development standpoint. So what they looked to do was build their own app. And in this case, they wanted an app. They didn't want an extension of the existing solution because they wanted this to be a capturing tool as well as a feedback tool. And so they used Cloud Platform. They developed it themselves from discovery and prototyping to their first go-live set. It was 6 months. So if you really put that in the context that this wasn't a solution that was already built, this is what they included in building it, that really goes to show the power of, and this is also an organization that doesn't typically develop technology. That is not obviously their business case. That wasn't necessarily what they were looking, but they found that they had the resources to do it. They did outsource a user experience person to actually build out the interface, but the app and everything they used they built themselves. It is fully global. It goes from corporate to manufacturing to retail sections, which is the first time this company has had all three areas on one standard solution for performance. It does have an aspect of continuous performance management philosophy to it, where they did want to give feedback, but they wanted to be able to recommend development capabilities, as well as tie in some compensation visibility that they can push from their on-prem system. Again, this is a company that's not moving to the full cloud until another 2 years from now. But as they go, they will integrate this new tool, this new app, into their actual talent strategy. So this is not something that they built in isolation. It could have been a bridge solution, but they do find that this actually suffices their need, and they'll use performance management a little bit more differently because of it. But they will use the full suite, and it really goes to show that they're able to deliver those capabilities and those great user experiences while they're changing their back end, and they're able to do it quickly. So it's a great story. We can give you some more information on that one, but it gives you one example of an organization thinking outside the box and able to tailor experience needs as well as talent needs in a very unique fashion. The other one actually presented at Success Connect in North America and will be at Sapphire this coming year. So if you're going to be at Sapphire, you'll be able to hear bits and pieces of their different stories. But this particular one is American Airlines, and this was while they were going from on-prem to Employee Central. So one of the requirements they had for moving to the cloud and on Employee Central was they needed to create a seniority calculator that was able to address the undergoing merger between themselves and U.S. Airways, as well as a current process that they were doing very manually that was very time-consuming and had potential auditing issues that would come up more often than not, and they wanted to move this to a more systematic approach. So they actually worked with SAP. We actually have a group that helps you as a customer bring your ideas to prototyping, and so this is one of the groups that they were able to work with that extended their Employee Central. So this was integrated into their Employee Central. It was done for their go live, and it's something that's seamlessly part of their experience when they're using the system. It does the calculations as well as builds out a log. There are some circumstances that they can't account for until the situation occurs. So the log, instead of having the system come down or there being any kind of significant issue, there's a log when a calculation has not been accounted for or maybe a new scenario. An admin is able to go review it, build the corrective information into the system, and then going forward, that situation is part of the normal checks and balances. But it accounted for 97% of the processes that were being done manually before. And again, just because there's some scenarios that still come up, they have to wait until those scenarios have all been sort of vetted out. But they now have the visibility of those data sets in their solution, as well as having the audit capabilities. And this was really important because this particular calculation drove retirement eligibility, priority scheduling, vacation priority, as well as some of the third-party vendors when they came in and literally to the second type scenarios when some of these folks would be separated from one another. So this was a huge business relief and something that was very innovative, which is one of the reasons why they'll be talking about this in more detail at Sapphire this year. But one of the scenarios they've been working on, and a great example of one of those things that might be holding you back or might not be captured today in your Employee Central experience that you're able to take advantage of to leverage more value out of what you already have. A few other components that kind of come into Cloud Platform that sometimes are not just based on the extensibility are some of the employee experiences. And one of those is one we call mobile cards. This is a very, what I refer to as an easy lift functionality that you can get, especially as you're developing a mobile strategy. Hopefully, most of you guys are using the SuccessFactors app today. And a lot of times we find that there's certain pieces of information that employees would like to get at their fingertips that are not always, the first thing on an app. Maybe that's your vacation balance, or maybe that's your pay stub. The app is great for looking at org charts and executing processes, but sometimes you want that quick information a little bit more easy to get and tactile. So what mobile cards are, it's very similar to what you would get in your Apple Wallet if you have an iPhone, or your Google Wallet if you have an Android, where you have your plane tickets and your Starbucks rewards and all those various loyalty cards and event tickets that get housed on your phones. This gets put in a separate secure wallet because this is PII type information, and we do value certain things a little bit more than maybe a rewards card. That was intentionally put in a separate one. But collectively, all these cards are able to be created by your admin, some out of the box, some with 30 minutes of time on any kind of OData, REST data set. that you're already using. And you're able to deliver these cards on a role-based permission path. And this could be something like your cafeteria menus if you have multiple offices with cafeterias. Again, they're all real-time. They all upload the data as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi. If not, they will refresh as soon as you're there, or as soon as you've reconnected to the network. At the same time, you can also use these to use for push notifications. So maybe you incorporate it into your disaster relief plan, or you do it as a notification, as a reminder. Benefits are coming up. Instead of using an email, this kind of puts a nice, quick blurb on your phone or your tablet as a way to really kind of get that gentle reminder push. As well as any kind of tiles that you may be looking at from a Fiori or a dashboard set. You can, execute them on a more card-looking format. Lots of uses, a lot more information that we could talk about with this one. But, it's about the experience. It's about how you can enhance the data you're already capturing and get it to your users and various capabilities. And this one has resonated incredibly well. It's one of our newer functionalities that we've seen people use Cloud Platform for. So definitely would encourage you to look at further into that. One of the other components as well is portal technology. As you look at what that next generation portal looks like, and adding chatbots and adding machine learning and having the portal not be a destination place to click on, but a place that the system helps prompt and guide your employees to what they should be doing on a daily task or in a collaboration space. Highly encourage you to look at the tools, because those same smart technologies that we can apply to an extension and put that machine learning and the artificial intelligence, you can put that into these portal technologies too, as well as bring in third-party solutions. So if your collaboration tool is Jam, that's awesome. If you're also using Yammer, bring Yammer in. All of it's designed to make sure that you're creating the experience you want. Mobile Cards has a place here as well, because this might be a place you're looking to put your discount program if you have one. And then instead of printing off a document or sending yourself an email, you can click on a card and actually have it pushed to your mobile device. So that way that user is going from workplace to personal life, and they're able to use their discount card or their gift certificate, seamlessly with technology. So lots of great innovations. We have lots of demos, so I highly encourage you to ask more information about this as well. And then, finally, from a user experience part, we do have a full partnership and array of development kits with Apple and Android, where you can create native technology of the device in those apps that you might want for your business or for your processes. So if you are looking at and have a need for an app that may function in your core business and need that people data, we do have a couple of examples to highlight, and then you can use the native map functionality, GPS, security with the retina scan and the face recognition and thumbprints. So very important and full SDKs that are available for your development resources. So as we get ready to move into some Q&A coming up, I just want to make sure that you are aware of other resources that you have access to get some information. On the development side, I mentioned those mobile SDKs, but we also have SAP Build, which is one of the solutions where you can build these extensions that I mentioned. It is a low-code development tool, but it does do very complex apps as well as various partnerships, Mindex being one of the SAP partnerships we have. Again, many partners, you saw the slide earlier, that are building extensions for the App Center, also partner with customers to build extensions as well. So highly encourage you to work with the partners you have, or you might be looking at exploring that opportunity with. We have an adoption experience. So sometimes you kind of ask, where do I begin? Matt's been talking for 30 minutes here, and I feel like there's a lot to digest. There's these various mission types that really expose you to where to get started, where to even bring this up in your organization if you're interested or have that need, and walks you along the expectation path, both from an administrative view, from a leader view, as well as learning missions to help you really understand more about Cloud Platform. So it's part of the cockpit of the SAP Cloud Platform Admin Center. If you don't have the SAP Cloud Platform license yet, you can download a free demo on the cloudplatform.sap website. When you get that demo or that trial license, you'll actually be able to see the cockpit with these various missions in there as well. Another area where we find a lot of folks are very excited about innovations are the blueprints. There's some links. Again, all this will be delivered, but this really helps show what does SuccessFactors look like when we're trying to build a relationship with SuccessFactors and Concur or SuccessFactors and Fieldglass, again, that contingent worker. How does it come into play? What does that look like as a technical spec? What does that look like as a business case? Our product team has been creating a number of scenarios and use cases, very common, that are live today for you to explore more information on. So I encourage you to look at that, as well as our SuccessFactors Gold Guide, which is our HR standard for SAP, really highlighting partners, customers, industry cases that really bring the power of SuccessFactors and all these tools like Cloud Platform and Fieldglass and Cloud Analytics to some insight and help create that vision of what you're looking for. And finally, to highlight the two big sites that I've been sort of referring to throughout the past half an hour, the SAP App Center, that's definitely one of the call to actions, as well as cloudplatform.sap.com, where you can see the blueprints, get the trial license of Cloud Platform, look at a lot of other resources that are available to you. So that's definitely one of the biggies right there. And with that being said, I'm going to open this up to some questions if we have any.
And we definitely have some questions. So I'm going to leave up this little poll question while we start addressing some of these questions. I would like to know if anyone here wants to discuss any specific things. We can schedule a one-on-one demo with you going over the SAP Cloud Platform. So if you're interested, click yes. If you're not, click no. And don't worry, there will be one more opportunity in case you missed this one. But it's a great way to reach out and ask for more personalized information. So let's jump in on some of these questions in our queue. All right, Matt, how do you find out more information on SAP Cloud Platform extensions?
So I would definitely, again, refer you back to our two big call to action spaces. The SAP Cloud Platform, again, those are created by our partners. They've been vetted by the SAP partner team internally. Those are going to show you what's available today that you can integrate right out of the box. Cloudplatform.sap.com will show you use cases, show you some of the innovative things that some of our customers have been doing, and give you a lot more on the broader power of Cloud Platform. So I highly encourage you to look at those two sites. I, by all means, am available and can direct you to resources that may already be available to your account. So you'll have my contact information as well, and hopefully we'll get you those questions answered.
How long is the typical configuration or implementation time of an extension from the SAP App Center?
So that's a good question, and I would say they're going to vary a little bit based on the processes that that the extension might be looking at for. For instance, the job points we were using as our example, that's something that, depending on how multinational your footprint is, you may have some configuration that you need to vet out. So I would say it could take a couple weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks. But these are also extensions that if you look for, some of the just core product enhancements, you probably can get set up in a day or two. I would say that just like, good due diligence of all your solutions, probably still want to take a couple days to really vet it out. But they are designed to be hopefully fast and agile, and that's really the key about these types of extensions.
Excellent. All right, our next question. It's a lengthy one. Our core HR is SAP on-prem, but we're considering implementing SuccessFactors performance and goals. We may eventually move on to Employee Central, but not for several years. So to implement performance and goals, would you recommend implementing the cloud platform now or when we move to Employee Central?
Good question. So I would say that your performance and goals is still going to be on track to align to your processes first and foremost. Cloud Platform could come into play as an accelerator. I would say most of the time the accelerator is more on the Employee Central implementation, but I would say let's engage your partner's expertise. However, that being said, because you're on-prem still, that does not mean you can't leverage Cloud Platform to actually create some of these scenarios we were talking about. I pivot to the Adidas example. They may have created an app, but they can also do a lot of bridge experience work that's not just integration, but maybe they're trying to push out some sort of mobile rendering dashboard, or maybe try to tie in some additional data sets, et cetera. So just because you're on-prem as a core doesn't mean that you're limited to using Cloud Platform. If anything, it probably would help bridge the hybrid experience more so. I don't think it really affects the timeline of performance and goals specifically, but again, I would say we take that to the partner and just validate it. More importantly, is aligning to your performance timelines more so than the accelerators.
Excellent. All right. How does the HR portal shown fit the parallel developments of SAP to push JAM as central HR portal under the People Workplace keyword?
So People Workplace is a project that is still always under review and is always evolving. Cloud Platform has always been part of that particular project. So a lot of the functionality that is being targeted to come from People Workplace, as well as really the broader digital workplace project, are fundamentally tied to Cloud Platform. So if JAM is one of the interfaces, that simply is a means to use it, but that's not the only way that you can leverage those same technologies. As I mentioned, we have a number of customers that build portals, especially as they're replacing some legacy technologies, and they're reimagining how they want that ecosystem to really look and feel. They're building straight up portal technology. So regardless of which one, you'll have Cloud Platform technologies embedded in both paths.
If I have created an extension on SAP Cloud Platform, can I sell it on the App Center?
Yes, and I would say that is becoming more common than not. So there are some paths around that, especially working with a partner or becoming a partner. So obviously, if you're not on the services side or you're not already a partner with SAP from the sense of a technology standpoint, that would be one first hurdle. But definitely, if you're creating innovations, a lot of times I see that those innovations get co-created with other service providers, and sometimes that might be the path of that. But this could be a revenue stream that you create inadvertently, depending on what you're looking at doing. So there is a button at the very upper right-hand side of the App Center that asks about publishing apps. You can click on that, and that would actually guide you to more information if you're interested. And again, you can reach out to me, and I can direct you to the appropriate partner teams.
All right, our last question. How much do the apps cost?
As you may have seen while we briefly looked at it, apps can vary in cost. That is something that's controlled by the vendor. So you would be working with them. A lot of times it depends, I think, on how many people are involved, or they might have two different versions of that extension. So again, I highly encourage you to look at the page. It'll give you a lot of insight, as well as utilize the contact button. Again, those are all controlled via the partners themselves. So they set the pricing on their extensions, and they'll work with you on what that would look like for your enterprise.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today. A big thanks to our speaker, Matthew Otto, and to your audience. Thank you for your time and participation. Would you still like to sign up for a complimentary one-on-one demo with SAP SuccessFactors? In a few moments, a voluntary survey will pop up asking your feedback on today's session and includes a way to schedule a one-on-one demo. Again, it's a great way to reach out and ask for more personalized information, as well as help us shape our future webinars. Just a reminder that today's webinar has been recorded, and we will be sending out a link to the replay in the coming days. We hope that you'll join us in 2 weeks for the next demo in our series, which will cover talent management. If you'd like to register for this event or any others in this series, you can use a link that will be provided in the follow-up email with the replay. Again, thank you for joining in today's session. Have a great day.